Hello, in this video we're going to discuss how you should be working on the app and website component of the E-CIP challenge. By now you should have seen the videos on topic selection, ideation, and creating a business plan, but here I'm going to walk through a couple of websites and resources that you can use when creating an app, website, or product to showcase your business idea through. So the first resource I want to talk about is the code.org AppLab. And by the way, again, all of the resources that I talk about in this video and all of the resources in general from this series are going to be linked in the resource document, which can be found in the description. So the AppLab is actually pretty common for some younger developers who might not be as familiar with coding. And so what you can do is create a new project, and it'll take you to a somewhat simpler development environment, and it'll show you a bunch of different options for blocks that you can drag out onto the screen, onto the workspace. And there's a bunch of different options for this. There's UI controls, data control, variables, all sorts of things like that, which will work for creating some functionality for your app. And so code.org actually has some already made tutorials for how to use their AppLab, and that can be found here, the intro to AppLab. But I'd also suggest looking through YouTube. There's going to be some resources that I link on the resource doc for some tutorials to go through the AppLab, but this is a great resource if you're not as familiar with coding. Another great resource for that is Thunkable. Thunkable is also somewhat similar to the AppLab, and once you create an account, it'll take you to this project directory, and I'm just going to visit one of the apps that I've already made with Thunkable, but it's a little bit more complex. It gives you a little bit more room to add some more functionality, import images, do all sorts of things like that. And this is a relatively simple app that I was able to create at the Awesome Inc.'s Week of Code. And so this app, basically, if you run the preview, when you click the roll button, it will display a new image for the die. And so you can create small apps like these, but they can obviously get more complex. And that's actually a pretty good website to use if you want to get into app development. But keep in mind, you're also not limited to just making apps. Thunkable is one way in which you could do that, but I'd also recommend you check out some of the resources that exist on this channel. Path to Programming has started making a web development series, and in that series, we teach you how to use the basics of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and those are all really important for if you want to make a functioning website. So if you go to playlists on our channel, you can see that there's a web development series, and more videos are coming out for that soon, but it's a great series and it'll teach you the basics of web development. I'd also recommend you can use Web Dev Simplified's Introduction to Web Development series. It's a great series. It's pretty well made. That'll teach you a lot of the similar stuff, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, like I was saying. These are all fundamental to any sort of web development you want to do. So be thinking about how you want to showcase your idea. Do you want to build a website? Do you want to build an app? Make sure you understand that we're not limiting you to just these things, but these are some pretty common ways that you can build out your idea. If you want to do app development, I'd also recommend looking into React Native and Android Studio. Those are also options for ways that you can develop an app. I will be talking about those more on the resource doc and listing some external resources that you can use to explore those, but feel free to exercise creativity here. We really just want to see that you have something to show for your idea and have something to show for the weeks that you've spent working on it.